This one is a quick and easy recommend, so we'll just do this hot, nasty, and dirty, and fast, and slick, and wet. If you caught my initial review of the Hex Phantom, I praised it as having the second best trigger locker stop system for the PlayStation 5 currently, and overall being a great package, although I did kind of knock in a second video the method that Hex decided to go with when it comes to adjusting the onboard potentiometer thumbsticks, as it introduces another problem by fixing your stick drift. That is no longer an issue, as that controller, which had 4 rear buttons that I really did enjoy if you prefer the 2 fingers for 4 rear button grip, where you're covering 2 rear buttons with each one of your middle fingers. This new Hall Effect Phantom is identical to that controller that I reviewed, every part, every component, except the thumbstick, so that is what we're going to focus on. But if you like the Phantom, which I sure as heck did, this is a Hall Effect version, meaning far less likely to develop stick drift for you. A quick disclaimer for my audience, the Stallions and Stallionettes, this controller was sent for review, but this is an empty box, by the way. The controller's been out and played with for like a month and a half. This was sent for review, honest, comprehensive review. I haven't been paid to say or not say anything about this controller. Hex does not get an early preview. If there's any cons about this thing, you're sure as heck going to hear about it, so these companies make better products over time. Real quick, because I like how short and sweet and simple and to the point the key points, the bullet points or features of this controller are. The selling points. Why would you want to buy this damn controller? You have options, Hall Effect or potentiometer joysticks. If you prefer the feeling of potentiometer sticks and have had a great run of luck with not getting stick drift, this might be the option for you. It's cheaper by a little bit. 4 remappable back buttons, which I mentioned in my initial review. I'm not going to touch too much on it here, but they are very, very good. I like them quite a darn bit, and those are 6 swappable profiles that can be bound to those 4 remappable back buttons, 8 interchangeable joysticks, and not just quantity, but also the quality. I liked every single cap. It made sense for different scenarios and felt good on the fingertips. Rubber grips, some of my favorites that I've used thus far. And then the triggers, which I lauded as being the second best on the market that I've tested. Kind of tied with the DualSense Edge for second place, beneath the Aimback Pro from AIM. And as far as buying these suckers, I'm on their website right now. The premium edition for the Phantom, so this little drop down for platforms. I've already reviewed the Ultimate, the Rival, I've reviewed the Ultra X and the Advanced, and I did the Edge, but not the Spike or the Hyper for the PS4 generation. Now there's already a Black Friday tab over here. Let's check that out real quick. Cool. So a lot of the Phantoms are over here. Now these are going to be from $230 for a pretty simple color like black or white. Now the white looks sick. The potentiometer one I have is this exact color tone, but unfortunately you cannot select in the drop down a Hall Effect option here. So be cognizant of that. Okay, so it says 2 different options available, but you cannot actually choose that here. Here we go. At a $20 price difference, I absolutely would recommend popping for the Hall Effect version. You're just going to increase the reliability, long-term durability of your controller. And you also get that included calibration tool, which is the best implementation I've seen for counteracting stick drift on Hall Effect sticks thus far. Very innovative. Packaging is identical as far as the outer box is concerned. About 2.5 years ago, Hex did make the jump away from that lighter blue box to this darker one, which I think looks a little bit better cosmetically. You also get a carrying case, which you did not with the original one. That was an extra cost because it was a Kickstarter campaign. At least it was during the time of my initial review. But now there is a carrying case included, which you'll love to see. I really want to jump ahead to the cosmetics because I think this Cray looks so sick. But accessory-wise, you do have 8 included thumbstick caps, which I've really liked from Hex. They've been doing that for like 2 years. I think the first controller I reviewed that did that or included that accessory-wise was the Ultra X for Xbox. We're going to touch on the details of those during the thumbstick cap section, but you have some other included accessories, including a little PCB with a ribbon cable, and then the plastic adjustment tool, which we'll talk about that later. Then you also get a bag of joystick protection rings, which I don't like these because you can actually feel them drag rubber against the plastic of the anti-friction rings, which creates an unsavory, well, drag or friction when you're at full lock. So I don't use them, but what they can do is restrict a little bit of your movement, which you can also do in soft software. Something like DS4, you can limit your outer dead zone. So if you want to only push your stick 50% forward and have your guy running full speed, that's where you would do it. There is a little mesh net at the top, and if you're not careful, the USB-C cable can land over the thumbsticks, which could cock them out at a weird angle and potentially cause some damage. Cosmetically, I think this controller looks absolutely amazing in this color. This was actually my second choice or default because the clear, translucent, smoked faceplate was out of stock, and I just wanted to get one in hand regardless of the color so I could get a review out for you. This gray looks absolutely slick. Also, the anti-friction rings have a little bit of a dot or pattern on them, which looks really cool. And to let you know this is the Hall Effect version, there is a little sticker on the touchpad. Okay, this is so sick. This is a much better iteration or way to adjust stick drift in comparison to that little board or panel that I complained about at the regular Phantom. That ribbon cable and that mini PCB, that little board that's included in the Ziploc bag, plugs into the top like a damn OBD2 diagnostic tool in a car. This is so freaking cool. I am, of course, going to link this video from Hexgaming, as it does as good of a job as I could do myself shooting this footage on how to actually calibrate your thumbsticks, but it is a much better method as it's using this tool, the separate tool, versus when you counteract stick drift with the old calibration tool, you would actually lose range of motion on the other end, on the other side of the stick. This is freaking just great innovation here. And the thing is, holy crap, that's a weird looking pattern with the, I hardly ever had this big ass window open, you know, makes the lighting not consistent and stuff, but geez, that looks crazy. But Hexgaming is basically acknowledging the fact that you can get stick drift with Hall Effect thumbstick modules unless they don't have a recentering spring. Few on the market. In fact, the FlyDigi Vader 4 Pro is the only one that I've personally inspected that doesn't have that component that can lose tension on you over time. But if you do develop stick drift, you can counteract it. As for the included thumbstick caps, it's identical to the potentiometer one. So like KontrolFreek compatibility and all that is the same, which is minimal unless you use the small ones. All the other ones are really wide in diameter, which is great for comfort and control and accuracy and all that stuff, but it doesn't allow any KontrolFreeks to work. Having said that, they do have a really high option and a dome option, which is pretty cool. And I do love cosmetically that gloss gray. I think these sticks look sick, and you have 8 to swap through. Over here in Gamepad Tester to do a little bit of wiggling and waggling on these thumbsticks, which are Hall Effect, not potentiometer. Don't get it twisted like we're about to twist these thumbsticks in a circle. You are going to see these are snapping back to a perfect resting value of 0.00392. There's a little bit of a weird sputter going on there, but I massaged it out. It's fine now. Let's hit the circularity test, shall we? Oh no. So they're definitely not showing very even movement. There's some, you know, looks different over here than it does over here. This is actually the closest I can get them to look, you know, like the umbrella logo from Resident Evil. Tight inner dead zone as you break away from neutral, reaching 100% lock outside of the thumbstick gates, no problemo, but really weird results in the circularity test, at least with this visual representation here, looking kind of not even, but you do have that calibration tool. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that. And as this is based on a stack PlayStation DualSense controller, it's exactly what you would expect. 4 milliseconds of input lag or delay, at 3.91 to be specific on the average. Jitter, very low, that it's going to be a 250 hertz clock, but you can take this all the way to 1000 with a program like the Lord of Mice overclocking program. I do have an overclocking guide. It's pretty fucking old now. It's like 2.5 years old. Probably going to make an updated version, but that is linked in the description below. So some things I wish the Phantom had would be clicky mechanical face buttons. You cannot add that in the builder, at least to my knowledge, which it sucks. You're gonna have squishy, mushy membrane buttons, which some gamers prefer. I personally don't if I'm gonna spend extra ducats on a pro controller, something that's fancy. But I was a big old fat fan of the Phantom, frolicking with the Phantom, the potentiometer one. And the fact that this also launched pretty much right after the potentiometer one. But the fact you have 2 options here, potentiometer or the Hall Effect one for 20 extra bucks. I can't recommend this enough in the PS5 segment. I think this is definitely one of the top dogs when it comes to custom PS5 controllers. This is right up there with the Aimback Pro, the V3 Aimbacks from AIM, the DualSense Edge, which I love. And I actually enjoy my hypers quite a bit, despite the fact I've had to make a little warning video. That was quite a while ago. I'm going to do a checkup to see if they've gotten their ducks in order, their gooses in a line. This controller is linked in the description below. I have an exclusive discount with Hex, and I do strongly recommend this controller. It's a little bit on the pricey side, but if you're bouncing between your PlayStation 5 and your PC, yeah, this thing's a monster. Hex now does also have a lifetime warranty, although I made a video because the way they rolled it out was a little bit sleazy. They just edited the pre-existing, not only page, but also forums, FAQ pages. You can even see timestamps of the old articles on Google, which, you know, said like, hey, how long of a warranty do I have? It was like 6 months, 6 months. And also in my old warranties, you can see the placards in the box say 6 months. And they kind of just tried to make it seem like they always had a lifetime warranty. It's great that they have that, but also there is some wording that seemed a little bit like a catch-all that they could not honor the warranty. So they have a lifetime warranty, but just like AIM, there is some fine print that you might have to shuck and jive through. Drop in the comment section below what you Stallions and Stallionettes are using in the gamepad department. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace. If you enjoyed the video, liking it helps it to get seen by more gamers, so this information will reach and assist them as well. Much like the back of the TV, I've got plugs for all of my socials down there in the description below. And your wallet will greatly thank you if you check the description, because there are exclusive discounts on a ton of products, including controllers, KontrolFreeks, keyboards, mouse pads, clothes, and energy drinks. And keep in mind that you, the viewer, keep this channel running. The more Stallions and Stallionettes trotting around the stable, the better, so mollywop that subscribe button like it owes you money, and we'll have the same amount of fun tomorrow.